So before we get on to this video, I'd just like to say, if you haven't, please watch my last video where I do a breakdown of all the token rewards up to the Amethyst tier. The reason why it's important to watch that video is because I reference it a lot. I reference a lot of cards mentioned in that video, and if you guys don't know what the token reward cards are for NBA 2K20, you're going to be completely lost with what I'm talking about. So yeah, anyway, a link to that will be in the description. So now let's get on to the video. What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be talking about which starter pack you guys should pick in NBA 2K20 Myteam. So honestly, these are 5 icons. So I don't think the starter player is going to be like the most relevant thing. I think they're going to be really good for for the first week or two. So it does make a difference just in game based on which one you pick. But I'm going to say this first and foremost: if your favorite player is one of these 5 guys, just pick it. Just pick it, because you're going to have the most fun Myteam playing with your favorite players. But in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the advantages and disadvantages of every one of these cards, and also what alternatives there are to these cards, because the last thing you want to do is waste your one starter player. You can only get one of these. So honestly, I think from looking through these cards, you could make a legit argument on why you should pick maybe 3 or 4 of the 5. And that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit in this video. And also, there are going to be some disadvantages to all of these cards. Actually, there's going to be disadvantages to some of them, so I'm going to talk about them as well. So first of all, I'm going to go over who the 5 starters are. Like, it'll be on the screen. The 5 starters are Derrick Rose, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, and Hakeem Olajuwon. So 5 icons of the NBA. 5 guys that, if you could start, like, it's an evolution card, so you need to upgrade them from Emerald to Sapphire to Ruby, but you can basically get a Ruby day 1, a Ruby one of these cards, which could be quite nice. So first of all, we're going to talk about the first of these. We're going to talk about Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose is a 6'3" athletic point guard. Can't really shoot the ball, but he will be able to go to the basket, dunk really well. Going to be a good enough shooter if he's wide open to hit shots, but has good enough animations. So Derrick Rose is actually going to be a really nice player. 6'3" point guard. So he is still a little bit undersized. I know position locks are a thing, but being small for your position is still not a great thing. And with position locks, especially whatever is small point guards, they might be a little more useful. Small 2 guards become almost useless with position locks. Small forwards become almost useless because you can't move them down to the 2. Small power forwards, you can't move them down to the 3. Or like stretch 4s that really are 3s, like Kurolenko played the 3 for all those Utah Jazz teams, and he's always a power forward in 2K. You can't move him down. And small centers become almost useless. So in actually, position locks was meant to help the small players. It's actually hurt the small players more than ever, in my opinion, but I just hate position locks. So we're going to have to look at some alternatives. So one of the main alternatives for this card is going to be an Emerald that you're going to get day 1, which could, release dependent, could be better than this Derrick Rose, and that is the Emerald Bob Sura. So if you guys don't know about Bob Sura was a really athletic player who was streaky from 3. He had some really good shooting seasons, he had some really bad shooting seasons, but the thing is, he is a 6'5" point guard who who was in the 3-point contest and the dunk contest. So he's going to be an ultra athletic dunker with a 3-point shot. While he's not going to have Derrick Rose animations, considering he's a new player in 2K, and we all know what 2K did with a lot of the newest arc players they brought in last year. They either based them on other cards that were already in the game, like, for example, Charlie Scott and Penny Hardaway, Dwayne Wade and Richie Guerin, Jeff Petrie, and then later on in the year, likes of Richie Guerin, Anton Jameson, they gave them either really good releases or base 11, or a lot of them they even gave like J.R. Smith's release this. So if he gets a really good release, this Bob Sura could be equally as good, maybe even a little bit better than Derrick Rose, even at his best. You've got a Michael Carter Williams Sapphire card, who is going to be 3 inches taller than Derrick Rose. Is going to have a passable 3-ball, because if it's based on his rookie year with the Sixers, where he shot the ball moderately well, he's going to be a good defender, he's going to have a high steal rating, and a 6'6" point guard, which makes him quite a great player to use. And I'm not going to go over many of the token players that are above Sapphire tier. And then if you're looking at current players, which I don't think are going to be that relevant, you've got John Wall, who his either sapphire or ruby will do almost the same job as Derrick Rose. So you've got some alternatives. Russell Westbrook, his ruby or amethyst card will probably do a very, very similar job. Maybe not shoot as quiet as well, but will be very similar. So Derrick Rose, there's a lot of alternatives. We've got Tracy McGrady. T-Mac is going to be a good enough shooter, a really good dunker. He's going to have a high block rating, but he's going to be a poor defender. Trust me, he's going to be a really poor defender. He's going to be able to speed boost, I'm guessing. He's going to be a solid player. When you're looking at alternatives for T-Mac, you're looking at two guards. Trying to look through the Saf or the Emerald tier. You've got J.R. Ryder and you've got Oladipo, as well as Richard Jefferson. I don't think any of those are going to be as good as T-Mac, but they are kind of alternatives that are all going to be able to shoot the ball and all going to be able to dunk the ball. Not quite sure about speed boosting, but they're going to bring similar things to the floor as Tracy McGrady. You look at the Sapphire tier, you got Nick Anderson, who's 3-and-D. You've got Larry Hughes, who's more of a defensive card, but may actually be better at the two-guard position, depending on release. You've got Sarunas Marciulionis, who is going to be really strong. And most people aren't going to get the Ruby tier early enough or in the first couple of days of the game, so not even going to look at them. When you're looking at current players, the two-guard position is one where there's not a lot of great players in 2K. Harden's release isn't great. You've got Klay Thompson, who's a spot-up shooter, and there's going to be a ton of spot-up shooters that are going to be cheaper than Klay Thompson that are going to do a similar job, so I wouldn't waste my money on a card like that. And I don't know, there's not that many two guys that are always great, like Oladipo. So not Oladipo. Yeah, Oladipo's undersized, and so is Donovan Mitchell. So T-Mac is looking like a good option. Definitely looking like a good option because of the alternatives. Then we got Vince Carter. Vince Carter is a 6'6" small forward, or is he 6'7"? I can't remember. But Vince Carter is a kind of undersized small forward. If he's small forward / two guard, that'll help. He's 6'6", so he's an undersized small forward. So that is one knock against him, but he's not too small, but he is a little bit small. You've got in the Emerald tier, you've got the likes of Luol Deng, Jamario Moon, who aren't really great. I don't know anything about Sam Mitchell. Darius Miles won't be able to shoot the ball like Vince. Vince is going to have a really high dunk rating, and he's going to be able to shoot the ball as well as having a decent enough release. You've got a lot of kind of alternatives to do different things. Like if you want just a spot-up shooter, you can use a Chandler Parsons type card. And even if you're looking at the Sapphire tier, someone like an Iguodala might do a similar job. Iguodala, I think, is 6'6" as well. He's going to be able to shoot it quite well, going to be a lockdown defender, going to dunk well. You never know. Iguodala might actually be a better alternative at the small forward position than than Vince Carter. And it's kind of weird. They have Andre Iguodala for the Nuggets, a small forward, when he played two guard, and I'm almost certain there'll be some version of Warriors Iguodala where I'm not sure. I don't think he ever played the two. That's a two guard. 2K, at least get your positions right if you're going to use position locks. And then if you're looking at current NBA players, small forward position, Giannis is going to be used a hell of a lot. Giannis is going to be used. You've got LeBron. You're looking at Jason Tatum, who's going to be good this year. Luka Doncic, maybe, who ended up last year being really good in 2K. You're going to have a lot of really good players at that small forward position. So what is probably the most stacked, as well as the Larry Bird. I completely forgot about the Larry Bird day one. The Neek a lot of people are going to get. The Ruby Darius Miles at for 50 wins in Triple Threat Online. The small forward position, day one, is going to be stacked. People may not even use Giannis. That's how stacked that position is. Now we're on to the power forward, and it's Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk's got a slow release. He's going to have a good fadeaway, but it all depends on how post moves are. Fadeaways, some years are overpowered, some years are underpowered. Alternatives as stretch fours, you've got Ryan Anderson in the Emerald tier, Mark Kellogg. I'm not even going to really look too much at the token rewards in terms of up to Sapphire, because while there are definitely alternatives, the alternatives I'm going to talk mostly about are in the regular rosters. So you've got stretch four type players. We know LeBron James can play at the power forward position, and I think that they're going to be more effective than the slow Dirk Nowitzki. Or you can get a Kristaps Porzingis. A more mobile, won't quite have the fadeaway, but he will have a similar three-point shot, a better release, and is a good alternative for Dirk Nowitzki. Unless, obviously, Dirk's your favorite player. He's the one that I would say there's almost no reason to pick him, because, let's be real, it's Dirk Nowitzki. There's so many negatives to that card, even though Dirk's one of my favorite players of all time. So now we are on to the last one, and it's Hakeem Olajuwon. A lot of people want this card. A lot of people want Hakeem. So Hakeem is his Ruby card. He's not going to be able to shoot the ball. He's got some of the best post animations though in the game. Hakeem legitimately has incredible post animations. 7-foot tall center is going to be able to shoot the mid-range a little bit, shoot free throws, going to have great post game. He's going to not be able to shoot the three. I think future Hakeems will be, but I don't think this Hakeem will be. And I'm going to look at alternatives. So Emeralds, like, you're not going to get an Emerald card that's anyway close to being an alternative for Hakeem Olajuwon unless you want a different type of center. Like, for me, I don't use post game. I don't. Because I think that the guaranteed, or the 2 points you get from the post, and I'm just not very good at it, isn't really worth it when you can basically put a team of 5 shooters on the floor at all times. But if you're looking at Emerald here, Zhou Qi, if you just want Hakeem to block shots, rebound, and dunk, which a lot of people use their centers for, Zhou Qi will be a better card for that than Hakeem. Trust me, he's going to be faster, or as fast. He's going to be a better shot blocker. He's going to be a similar rebounder, just won't have the post game. Not a lot of cards will have. Hakeem may have the best post game in the game day one. And then when you're looking at the Sapphire tier, you have to take into account that Rafe LaFrance is in the game. Rafe LaFrance is going to have really decent post stats. He's going to be an unbelievable 3-point shooter. He's going to have a similar block rate to Hakeem, similar rebounding, and he's going to be just a little bit slower, but he's going to bring a lot more to the floor. And then when you're looking at normal rosters, there's Embiid who can shoot a bit, there's Karl Anthony Towns, there's Nikola Jokic. There's a lot of really, really good centers in 2K, like if you're looking at normal cards. So basically, yeah, that is it. There are the advantages, disadvantages, and alternatives for all the cards. So while there is advantages to them all, every card will do something well. I think that I wouldn't suggest, if you're just looking for in-game stuff, to pick Dirk Nowitzki. I wouldn't suggest to pick Vince Carter because he's a 6'6" small forward, and the small forward position is just so stacked from day one. I don't think Derrick Rose. I like Derrick Rose. I like him in game, but we have to see what Bob Sura is like. But Derrick Rose could be a nice pickup. He could be a nice pickup. A competent 3-ball. He could be a good player to run the point guard position, especially because he's going to have, I can almost guarantee he has that quick first step badge. And if that's as OP as it has been, that's blow bys for days. Hakeem Olajuwon got some great alternatives and is going to be a beast. But for my playstyle anyway, where I like to get up a lot of threes, he doesn't quite cut it. But if you guys like running through the post, he could be a great player to pick up. But the card I'm picking up, and the card I would advise a lot of people to pick up, is Tracy McGrady. More than anything, because there's not that many alternatives. The 2-guard position in regular NBA is okay in real life, but it's not a bunch of players that are good in 2K. It's a bunch of players that are good at basketball, but they don't necessarily translate their games to 2K. For that reason, we've yet to see some of the rewards. Dwayne Wade, I don't think is going to be out in Spectacular, the pre-order edition. So I think that Tracy McGrady is definitely, if you're just like, if you don't want any specific card, if you're just looking for who will be the best in game, who will stay on your team the longest, I think it'll be Tracy McGrady. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.